Hi, this is Matthew Trigali with Better Who, and in this video, we're going to debunk 3 big myths about remote team members. And so the 3 big myths we're going to talk about is accent. The second one is that you need detailed processes before you make a hire. And the third one is that really remote team members just lack skills outside of just basic data entry. So let's jump into the first one. So the first one is that their accents are going to be too thick, and it's not the type of person that you really want to have them on the phone, especially not talking to clients. Like, you'd be embarrassed by the level of accent that they have. And I understand why this myth exists, because we've all had that experience before. When you call in to some big company and you clearly got some overseas call center, the accent can be hard to understand. And then worse than that, they're clearly just following a script, and it's frustrating for you because you're not getting the answers you want. We all have had that experience before, and therefore it anchors in our mind that this is what it's like when you hire global staffing. But the reality is those are myths. It doesn't have to be that way. So the level of talent that we are placing, the level of accent that we're looking for, is somebody that when you speak to them, you could tell they weren't born here in the United States, but you would think they lived here at some point. And in fact, many of them have. And so the reality is all over the country right now, that is absolutely an acceptable level of English to be able to talk to somebody who they sound like they've lived here, even though they weren't born here. And that's the level of English that we're looking for. You absolutely would not be embarrassed for this person to be talking to your tenants, talking to your vendors, and talking to your clients. Everybody will be able to understand them and will be perfectly good with that situation. The second thing I mentioned is that you really need to have your processes dialed in before you make a hire. This is a common thing that we encounter, that somebody says, well, I really need to figure out exactly what I'm doing so that when I hire them, they can follow the steps in the process. But this is a limiting belief around what their skill sets are. The reality is that the level of talent that you are able to place when you hire direct through Better Who is not just somebody who can follow a process, but somebody that can actually help you document your process, create your process, and improve your process. So a lot of times, this is the very first thing that we'll have companies do, is bring them on and just say, look, as part of your training, I actually want you to document and write down all of the steps that you're seeing. Put that into a Google Doc at first, then we'll put it into a process software. So the reality is these are folks who can actually help you get to that next step in creating your processes. So don't be held back thinking you have to get this thing done first. And then the last myth that I mentioned is that they really lack skills outside basic data entry. And I understand this myth because this is how the industry and many companies have approached virtual assistants for a long time, as if all you can do is give them the basic tasks that they can do, and you don't want them to actually be decision makers. You just want them to just do this task exactly like I've laid it out. But again, that's a very limiting belief, because that's the type of virtual assistants that were being hired for a long time. But when you do a truly global search and you're looking all over the world and you're able to pay the types of wages that you pay when you hire directly instead of going through a staffing agency, you attract very high quality talent. So we've attracted folks from our team before, as you've heard me mention before, that have master's degrees, PhDs, engineers, doctors. I mean, very smart people who can improve your business, who can be decision makers and don't just have to check the box. Thanks. I hope that was really helpful in opening up your mind of what's possible when you hire direct, and especially when you hire direct through Better Who. Thanks.